The last class. So we started with the introduction about the low power VLSI. So we discussed about like in low power VLSI, the very much the important challenge is uh, power consumption. Because if you take in a VLSI, there are some three key factors was there. That is speed, power, and area. But when I talk about those three areas, but normally in the earlier cases, so only thing is they're not worried about the power. Only thing is they're done with the speed and area actually. But later what happened and during 1995 times actually, so most of the electronic components has come in the battery operated devices. So that is the time, especially everyone started to work. The challenge was the power, like they need to reduce the power, the device density with the operating frequency. That was the very important thing. Now, one more thing we discussed in the previous classes about the Moore's law. That is one of the very important law, the Moore's law. What the Moore's law states that, so like the number of transistors doubles for every 18 months in a chip. That only we'll call as Moore's law. Then we discussed about the scaling, about the scaling, like we can say the aspect ratio of the transistor. Now we can say like normally the battery life, as I mentioned here. So even if you go for any electronic devices, so it will be indirectly to translates to a low power requirements. Like the battery life is becoming a product differentiator in a more portable electronic markets. So now being that the heaviest and the biggest component in many portable systems, like the battery have not experienced the similar rapid density growth compared to the electronic circuit. As you know that the battery, which the chemical like nowadays you can see, so nickel I think they're using. So sometimes you may think the specific weight, the stored energy per unit weight, like that is when I can say the specific weight of the battery is barely doubles in several years. Actually, the sense so behind the technology issues, so further we need to increase the battery specific weight will soon draw a safety concern because the energy density is approaching that of the explosive chemicals. So we can say it has been generally concluded that the battery technology alone will not solve the low power problem in the near future, actually. So apart from that, as I said, we are having some more techniques also is there to reduce the power dissipation or power consumption. Like the power dissipation of the high performance microprocessors, like say example high performance in the sense 64-bit microprocessor or supercomputers we can say. So these things and all system will be categorized by a large power dissipation. Also it drives the low power needs. So now, like what we will do in the sense, the power dissipation will have the direct impact on the packaging cost. That is the one more thing very important here. The packaging cost of the chip and the cooling cost of the system. Because what they are fabricating initially, after that they are going for the fabrication. Just you have to think, you might have studied layout diagram. Correct. So in the measurement, whatever you are doing, the same measurement you won't get after the tape out. There will be some the changes will be there. So next, as we said earlier, that a chip that may operate with a 3.3 volt will consuming the low means the average current will be 3 ampere. So the transient current could be several times larger than the average current. So some of these are some introductions we studied about the low power VLSI. So now what we will do, let us start with our concept. The first one is if you want, we need to study about MIS structure. What is the MIS structure here? You can say the MIS structure is nothing but it is here M for metal, the I for insulator, then S for semiconductor. Now you can see MIS, or I can say the metal insulator semiconductor sense. Now we can see here, I'm showing here some figure here I'm showing, right? So now this figure shows that here, so it is nothing but here, the cross section, not a cross section, is a 3D view of MOSFET. Already you might have studied. The MOSFET is nothing but metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. Now, as we know that the metal oxide semiconductor, the MOSFET is composed of the MOS diode and a 2 PN junction diode. So this is a combination of what? MOS plus the 2 PN junction diode placed immediately adjacent to the MOS diode. Now, during the first demonstration has happened when in the sense 1960. First demonstration during 1960. So the MOSFET has developed quickly and it has become the very most the important devices for advanced integrated circuit like such as uh, microprocessor and semiconductor memories. Semiconductor memories. Now, you know one thing, where is the advantage of MOSFET? The MOSFET has, one thing I can say, the MOSFET will consume very low power and it has high yielding, that is high yield of working devices. So the very important thing I can say about the MOSFET, one more thing important about the MOSFET is it is easily scaled. Okay, it readily can be scaled down and it will take up the less space with a very one more important point if we want to say compared to the MOSFET and BJT, it take less space compared to BJT by using a same design rule. So this is about the MOSFET. Now we can think the MOS diode. So it's a important in semiconductor device physics because that device is extremely will be useful in the study of semiconductor surfaces. The practical applications, if you see, the mass diode is a heart of the mass diode. Mass diode is it's a heart of the MOSFET. The mass diode is the heart of the MOSFET, the most important device for advanced integrated circuit. Second thing is you know that. So MOSFET, how it can be used. One thing is I can say the MOSFET can be used as, so let me say what and all this MOSFET can be used. So okay, this MOSFET can be used as capacitor. Second is used as switch, and then I can say it can be used as amplifier. So the same MOSFET can be used as like this. One is can be used as a capacitor, that is the storage capacitor in a integrated circuit. Then it will forms the basic building block for CCD. That is CCD in the sense I can say charge coupled devices. So now what we will do here, let us study about the perspective view. This is the which you are showing is a perspective view of the mass diode, and the second which you are showing here, it is the cross section of the mass diode. Now we can see here in this diagram, you see the perspective view. In this perspective view, the mass oxide semiconductor mass diode, that is M. So here we can see the top, right? So here this top, the metal one is there. This is metal. This metal, that is why M has come, right? The top, you can see the top metal. Then below that you can see we are having the insulator. Normally the insulator will be what? It is a SiO2 layer. This is insulator. Below that, what we are having? We are having the semiconductor, that is nothing but a silicon. So now we can see from the top view, like this metal is a metal insulator semiconductor. That is so normally how this MOSFET, the name is arrived. You need to know that is metal oxide. So the gate terminal will be there. No, this gate terminal will be a metal actually. Then your in between terminal, this will be your SiO2 layer. That is a oxide. Then below that we'll have the semiconductor, that is MOS, mass. The total together it should be a field effect transistor. That is what the MOSFET name has arrived. Now here you can see in this, so metal, then SiO2. So now metal in the sense you need to know about what type, what kind of the metals and all they will use. There is a possibility the one metal can be which they used is a copper actually sometimes. Okay. Then one more thing they may use as aluminum. So here I'm showing as a aluminum is a metal here. See, this is the metal. So now I can say this will be the applying the bias, like I can say as gate or anything you can consider. This is the gate or anything top. B, that is metal. This is the metal. Okay. So this is the metal. Then this will be oxide layer is, see, it's equivalent. You can see here the metal is nothing but a aluminum. So you can see the diagram. So let me map the diagram here. See, this metal is nothing but aluminum. Then this insulator is nothing but a SiO2. Then the semiconductor is nothing but a silicon. Now you can see there is here the gap, like where D. What is this? This D. Where this D is nothing but the thickness of the oxide. Or sometimes in your CMOS VLSI, you might have studied. That is, I hope you can remember that. It is like a TX. I hope you remember that oxide thickness will be represented at TX. But here we mentioned as D is a thickness. D is the thickness of the oxide. And this V, what is this V? It's this V. This V, this V is nothing but it's applied voltage on the metal field plate. Now you can see here we are shown the electric field direction. Here you can see we are taking the x-axis as like this. This is the x-axis. So we are taking as this is x-axis. So this will be the field as x-axis. Then we are going to take this as the y-axis. So because later when you come for the discussion at the time we need to know like which one you are taking x-axis. The x-axis will be this one. Like electric field x-axis, I can say Ex. So this I'll consider as Ey. Electric field is nothing but y. I will say like this. Okay. Now what we'll do, so hereafter when we are going to discuss here the conversion that the voltage V, that is this one, the V will be like is positive. When I can say positive, if the metal plate is positively biased with respect to the ohmic contact. Okay, ohmic contact is this one. So if this V is connected to the ohmic contact with the positive bias if I applied. So that is a one case. Second case is like when the if V is negative, when the metal plate is negatively biased with respect to the contact, then two ways we are doing. That is like a simple I can say forward bias or reverse bias. That is a two thing, right? So the convention will be used like this: a positive or a negative. Now what we need to know here, like the corresponding to that, we need to study about the energy band diagram of the ideal p-type semiconductor, because here we are going to discuss about the p-type semiconductor. So you can take a p-type or n-type, but for example, we are going to take the p-type. You can see that diagram here, which the diagram shows that this is the diagram which shows that the energy band diagram. This is the energy band diagram of an ideal MOS diode at V equal to 0, because here we are going to see three cases we are going to see. In the sense, the first is nothing but no bias, right? First is nothing but we are going to study as no bias. Second one is what we are going to, we are going to apply the bias. So no bias in the sense what? V is equal to 0. We are going to apply the bias. So when you are going to apply the bias, like what? In the sense, we are going to apply the bias, we are having two things. One is like a forward. The second one is reverse. So forward in the sense, I can say V should be greater than 0. Reverse means I can say V is less than 0. The applied voltage is greater than 0. The applied voltage is less than 0. So that is, I can say the positive voltage applying, negative voltage you are applying. So this is what we are going to see. Now you can compare the previous, the MOS diode and this energy band diagram here. You can see here in this, where the top you assume is metal. Yes, the top is a metal. This one is the metal actually. Then this is nothing but your oxide. Then this will be your semiconductor. It's a p-type semiconductor. If we are going to choose the p-type semiconductor, what is that? What is the majority carrier for p-type semiconductors? What is the majority carrier and the minority carriers? The majority carriers are holes, the minority carriers are electrons. Now we can assume here like okay, you need to map that diagram with this. Okay, just to make an assumption here, this is the metal, this is the oxide, this is a p-type semiconductor. The p-types are normally the p-type semiconductor, the majority carriers are holes and the magnetic carriers are electrons. Now, this the diagram which you're showing is the energy band diagram. Normally, the energy band diagram here, we can see the oxide we are having. The D is the C. As I mentioned earlier, what is D? The D is nothing but here. It's here. What is D? The D is here. The thickness of the oxide. So this is the oxide thickness level. Okay. Now we are having the top. Then the level here you can see this level is nothing but it's a vacuum level. So here the bottom, this level is nothing but a Fermi level. Okay, this is a Fermi level, that is a vacuum level. Now, the Fermi level for the energy and the semiconductor, all these things, we are going to do something like about energy band. At the same time, we are going to discuss about like what about the charge distribution, energy band diagram and the charge distribution. So now we can see in this figure what are the parameters are there. Let us talk about each and every parameter. First parameter, I can say this is I can call as Q phi M's, right? So first I will say phi M, yes, phi ms is equal to phi m minus phi s, or I can say Q ms is equal to 0. Now the phi ms is nothing but the work function. So let me talk what is phi ms. The phi ms is nothing but like it's a work function, energy difference between the Fermi level and the vacuum level. That is only I can call as phi m. Yes, that is not phi ms. Suppose it is phi m. Sorry, that is not. The phi ms is nothing but it's a work function of Fermi level and vacuum level. And I can say it's a semiconductor, metal and semiconductor, the work function of metal and semiconductors. Now, from this diagram, you can say the Q phi m, this only as I mentioned here, right? So, this phi m is nothing but it's a difference between, you can see this. So, it's a work function, which is the work function is the energy difference between the Fermi level and the vacuum level. That is Q phi m. The Q phi m is for metal. Then I can say the Q phi s is for semiconductor. But overall, if I say phi ms is nothing, it's a work function. Work function is the energy difference between Fermi level and the vacuum level. So the difference of work function of metal and a semiconductor will be is equal to 0. When in the ideal mass diode at V is equal to 0 means we are not applied any voltage. The bias voltage will be is equal to 0. At that time, this will be like this. The difference of these two will be equal. But same time here in this, we can see the Qx, this Qx, right? So we need to know what is this Qx actually. This Qx is nothing but it's a electron affinity. So it is here electron affinity. So the Qx is electron affinity. What is electron affinity? It's nothing but again you can see in this figure. What is this? So it is nothing but the Qx is the difference. Even this also, which is the energy difference between the EC is nothing but it's a conduction band. It is a conduction band. Then this will be your valence band. Okay, conduction band edge. This is conduction band edge actually. Conduction band edge and the vacuum level in the semiconductor. And we can see here the Q psi B. What is the psi B in the sense like this is like we can say complete because the Q phi S is nothing but uh, it is a difference of these two, right? The Q phi is nothing but the difference between EI and EF, or I can say the energy difference between the Fermi level EF and intrinsic Fermi level EI. This is intrinsic Fermi level. So what about this? This will be your Fermi level. So I think from this diagram only we'll get. So the Eg by 2 is nothing but what? It's a difference between Eg is energy gap, right? Eg is nothing but energy gap energy. Or I can say forbidden energy also I can say. So difference between the intrinsic Fermi level and the conduction band. Now we can see here. Let us discuss our first. What is the case 1? Let us go for the case 1 here. Okay, first for ideal mass. For ideal mass is defined as first is what? 0 applied. That is nothing but V is equal to 0. So as V is equal to 0 already as I mentioned there. So let me write 2 pi ms will be is equivalent to 2 pi m minus 2 pi s will be is equal to 0. Again I can say the q phi m will be minus the q phi s will be written as q. This is chi factor dot x already we given q1 plus eg by 2 plus q psi b. We can see the top figure actually the qs. What is the qs? You can see here. You can see here. Okay, this figure only you can see. See now here only you can see here. The Q phi s is nothing but the complete one here. What is that? It's a sum of three quantities. What are the three quantities? The one is Q chi, then Eg by 2, then Q psi b. That is nothing but Q phi s. So now let us write. So now this is what we written will be is equal to 0. Now what we'll do, we can take out the q as common both the sides. Okay, if you take the q as common in the both the sides, now what will be the expression we'll get? Take the q as outside, then we'll get us the phi ms will be is equal to phi m minus that is chi, right? Chi plus Eg by 2 Q plus psi B will be is equal to 0. I hope you got that now. So this is the expression for work function difference. Work function difference is 0. Okay. Now here there are the sum of the three terms. So these three terms, right? These three terms in the bracket will be equal to, that is Q phi as we said. Now in the other words we can say, from this diagram, the top diagram, we can say the energy band is flat. Because if I'm not applied any voltage V is equal to 0, there will be like the flat band voltage will come. All the E, C, E, V and E, F is flat. That is a conduction band, the valence band, and the Fermi level. So all of will be flatter when you apply. There is no voltage. Second thing is what I can say in the sense, because we are not applying any voltage. If I'm not applied any voltage, the only charges that exist in the diode under the biasing condition are those the semiconductor and those with equal but opposite sign of the metal surface. Why? Because here we can say the top side in the figure only. So let me take this diagram only. I will show. We take this diagram only here only. What will happen? What will be in this side here? I have not applied any voltage. If I'm not applied any voltage, you can remember your PN junction diode. Okay. So in the PN junction diode, like when the junction is formed, but even though if you doesn't apply any voltage, so what will happen? Here this side there will be like a positive charge because we are going to still I'm not applied any voltages over there. So automatically what will happen, like under any biasing conditions, the semiconductor with the semiconductor and those with the equal but opposite sign on the metal surface adjacent to the oxide. So here, so like opposite sign only will be the same. Example here, if it is a plus, example, if it is a plus here, then here it will be negative will be there. Correct. Then third thing I can say, when I am not applied any voltage, then there will not be a direct the carrier path. There will not be. There is no carrier path here. There is no carrier path between the metal to semiconductor or like a p-type you can say here normally, right? There is no, or I can say there is no carrier transport through the oxide under the direct current or in the biasing conditions. So due to that I can say the resistivity of the oxide, resistivity of the oxide is infinity. It's a infinite. Now we need to discuss about, now when an ideal MOS diode is biased with either positive or negative voltage, there will be three cases may exist in the semiconductor surfaces. What are those three cases in the sense? This is the case number one, accumulation. The second case is depletion. The third case is inversion. So you have to keep it in your mind. Normally, when an ideal mass diode is biased with the positive or a negative voltage, three cases may exist in the semiconductors. So in the semiconductor surface, actually, that is one is the accumulation, the second one is depletion, the third one is inversion. Inversion we may have weak inversion, strong. Simply we can call this inversion layer. We can say. So now here we are going to consider P-type semiconductor. For example, for the case, we are going to consider the P-type. So when you consider the P-type semiconductor, like in the sense what? P-type in the sense, initially we have seen V is equal to 0. So now we are considering V-type. So first we are going to apply the voltage, the V is, because For P-type, the majority carriers are holes, the minority carriers are electrons. Now we can see in the energy band diagram here. See, we are applying, this is the second case, right? V is less than 0. What is this actually? This is metal. You remember, just this is metal, this is oxide, this will be a semiconductor. Correct? A semiconductor means it is a P-type. So P-type in the sense, this is what? These are holes. Okay. When you are applying V is less than 0, that is a negative voltage you are applying in the metal plate. When you apply the negative voltage in metal plate, what will happen? The excess positive carriers. Because when you are going to less than 0, this is negative voltage you are applying, right? The applying negative means it is excess. The positive carriers means I can say the holes will be engaged at the SiO2 and silicon interface. See here, this is what. See here, the excessive carrier holes will be induced in applying. And where? So in this case, we can say the band near the semiconductor surface, semiconductor surface bend upward. But we can see in the previous case, when the applied voltage V is equal to 0, as I mentioned, it is flat. Everything is a flat straight line. It was a straight line actually. But now here what happened? So when V very less than 0 when apply, so here the holes are accumulating. See here in the surface of the oxide. When it is accumulating, automatically what will happen, like the band near semiconductor surface faces are bend upwards. It will bend upwards. Just it will push from the bottom to up actually. It will be pushed. Right? So what it is doing in this, we can say what will happen. There will not be for an ideal mass diode, there is no current flow in the device. So regardless of values of the applied voltage, because as we know that earlier, for an ideal diode, the current there will not be any current flow even without applying the voltage. But as you know that as soon as you start to apply the voltage, then your transistor will not start to there will not be immediate flow will not be there because there will be some barrier potential will be there. That is only we can call as threshold voltage. So what is one by threshold voltage? The threshold voltage, I think it's a minimum voltage required to turn on, or with respect to diode, if I say it's a minimum voltage to required to uh, like transferring the current. I can say simple, right? I'll move from one side to the other side actually. Our current will move. So now here in this, the Fermi level semiconductor will be remain constant over there. So previously we determined that the carrier density in the semiconductor will be depends exponentially on the energy difference. We can see the equivalent diagram here we are showing over there. See that when V is less than 0, the Fermi level, you can see this the Fermi level went up actually, right? Because happening. So this is nothing but your Fermi level series. Okay, earlier it was now this conduction band and the valence band, everything little bit bend upwards when the energy band when a negative bias is applied. This is the charge distribution. This is charge distribution diagram actually, right? Now you can see here. This is QS, that is QM. That is QS is nothing but what? The charge in the semiconductor. The QM is the charge in the metal, actually. Now, what happens when you apply less than 0 in the where you are applying in the gate? You remember, when you are applying less than 0 in the sense, you are applying negative. Correct? When you are applying the negative voltage in the sense, so automatically what will happen here, the holes are attractive over there. Here, this are all we'll have minus, minus, minus. Here we'll have the plus, plus, plus. Correct? This is simple, I'll say with the diagram here. See here we have like this. Okay, we have. So here, if I take diagram and we have like this. Simply I'm like this. That is what we are having QQM and QFI. That this is the x-axis. Remember, x-axis nothing but in the previous diagram we said this is the x-axis. Always I said this will be your y-axis, but the diagram way I'm showing. So just for your reference here, always you have to visualize as like this. Rotate this diagram by 90 degree to a right hand side. Then you see. So what will be the charge distribution? Now, when you're having like this, then what will be the equation like a QP will be is equal to charge density Ni into E to the exponential power of E Ei minus E F divided by KT. So the upward bending of the energy band, the semiconductor surface will be causes an increase in the energy. Increase in the energy of EI, the difference of EI and EF. That is why in diagram you can see here EI minus EF. So which in turn gives rise to a enhanced concentration and accumulation of holes near the semiconductor. That is why I earlier mentioned. So here the holes are accumulated under the silicon oxide layer. So this is called as accumulation. The second thing is what I said. The second one is accumulation over. So after that, when you are going to apply the applied voltage V is greater than zero. When the applied voltage is V is greater than zero means positive voltage you are applying in the V. When you are applying the positive voltage, earlier we applied the negative voltage. Correct? So during the negative voltage, what happened? The holes are attracted in the accumulator. Okay. Now what we are going to do? We are going to apply the V is greater than zero. So if you are applying the energy band when small positive bias voltage you are applying. So when it is applied, automatically what's happened here? See, this will be your Fermi level. So your electron will start to move, right? So nothing but your holes will start to move from here to here like this because already accumulator slowly it start move from valence band to conduction band. But here we applied very small. That is why here the diagram we are showing here. That is the metal charge. This is the metal charge. So here we are having the Q, the charge. Na is nothing but the acceptor actually. So it's moving from valence to conduction band. Slowly it start to move from valence to conduction band. So now from this I can see where the QS is positive here. Where the QS is the positive charge per unit area in the semiconductor and the QM is the negative charge per unit area. So in this I can say the QS is positive charge per unit area, then the QM is the negative charge per unit area. So I can say like this, phi m will be is equal to S in the metal. So this is case not for your what I wrote this here now. This is not for your depletion actually. This is for your first case in the sense less than zero. Okay, for that case. Now here as I mentioned second, the V is greater than zero. Small positive voltage apply. The energy band near the surface bent downward. You can see the complete the previous diagram was like this. Now in this diagram you can see bend down, like it's going down in the sense, bend downwards. Because, like simple, I can say the electrons will be drift from bottom to up in the sense, the electric field current will flow from to bottom. As you know that electron and the current will move opposite direction. Now in this downward, and the magnetic carries the holes are depleted. Like there will be a formation of depletion. It will be depleted. That case only can call as depletion case. So in this only, I can say the space charge per unit area, that is 2SC. The space charge. This is the space charge per the unit area will be is equal to QSC will be is equal to minus Q NA into W. What is the W here? We need to know, right? So this W is nothing but it's a bit of the surface depletion region. Now what you're doing again, still you are applying the applied voltage V is more and more greater. That is the larger positive voltage you are applying. If you are applying larger positive area, as you know that this is metal, this is oxide, this is semiconductor, that is a P type. If it is a P type in the sense majority carries are holes, the minority carries are electrons. So what will happen when applying positive voltage more and more? So here this will be attack, the holes will be slowly will move up. Actually, as you know that the holes and the electrons, if I say, what about their atomic weight? Normally, the hole will be like it is more weight, holes are weight than the electrons. So it will slowly, it will move in the upward direction, like it will move. So larger and larger voltage are applying, the energy band will be down. See, still it will be down. You can see this diagram. You can see, I will show here. We are applying the voltage more and more positive. You can see here in this, we are showing, see, more positive. If you are applying still, what happens? So like it still is, it will bend. When it is bending down still more, even more. So at the intrinsic level, you can see this. Your intrinsic level is coming to the nearly to the Fermi. Actually, it's getting reducing actually the difference. So the intrinsic level EI at the surface will be crosses over the Fermi level. So that means the positive gate voltage will start to induce the excess negative carriers, electrons at the SiO2 Si. This one here, SiO2 Si, SiO2 Si interface. The electron concentration of the semiconductor will be depends on exponentially on the energy differences. So they can say the Np will be is equal to Ni e to the power Ep minus Vi divided by Kt. So now in this case, the Ep, sorry, this is not Ep, it is Ef because we does Ef, right? This Ef minus Ei is greater than 0. Actually, in this case, if it is greater than 0, then only the electron concentration Np, that is, I can say here, the electron concentration Np at the interface is larger than Ni, and, and the whole concentration is less than the Ni. The N low holes, that is nothing but what I can say. The whole concentration means what? We'll say Pp, right? Pp less than Pi, I'll say. Okay, so the number of electrons at the surface, So let me talk. Let me write the condition here, or let me put a statement. I'll write the statement here. Very important statement here. The number of electrons, that is minority carriers. The minority carrier at the surface is greater than hole, that is magnetic carrier. Then the surface is inverted. So this only I can call as inversion case. So totally 3 cases we studied over there. So you can recap. So what will happen? It will be inverted under the your silicon dioxide layer. Like example, the top in the gate will be accumulated with the positive. Then under the silicon will be negative. Slowly all the holes will be attracted. In the sense, all hole electrons will be attracted because we are considering the p type. So the electrons will be accumulated. The top of the gate will have the negative because we are applying negative voltage. The sense positive, more and more positive when you apply, automatic what will happen under the beneath, we'll call this that only. Okay, so under the beneath of the oxide, so it will be inverted. So if the inversion cases happen, that only we can call as the simple, it's a channel creation we can call. The channel will be created due to the inversion. If the inversion layers happen, then that portion only the channel will be created. That is what you might have seen in your cross-section diagram. I hope you can remember your cross-section. See, this is the cross-section of your MOSFET, N plus, N plus. Then we'll have like this, right? So here only electrons will be accumulated. See here, will be accumulated. So this portion only I can say the inversion layer will come. So this is the inversion layer means though the channel is created. The channel establishment will be there here. So that only will give you the like the movement of the charge carriers will be from source to drain. So it is like so simple. You can remember here the diagram. If I say this is what actually, this is nothing but the gate metal. This will be your oxide. This will be your type p-type. So we have to apply the positive voltage and the negative voltage. So this is what we expressed. As I mentioned earlier, I hope you remember that. The MOSFET can be used as a charge storage capacitor. I hope you remember, right? So that is what it is. Capacitor. So accumulation. Then second is depletion. Third one is inversion. So it will be depleted. Third one is inversion layer. So this will be the one of important question for the examination.